A man wanders into the territory of a gang known as the Bloody Sharks. Billy, their leader, is given a photo of his brother Rex and warned to stay away for the next 3 days. Meanwhile, Ranma's in the sewer below looking for Lily, someone's pet. He emerges as Charlie, one of the Bloody Sharks, is tailing the threatening man. Ranma tries to explain he's looking for a pet, but Charlie attacks and he falls back in the sewer. He also starts experiencing the midnight transformation again. Anderson Kingdom's liner, Shining Venus, is in port for 3 days for a royal visit, and as Rella heads back to the office she catches a man's attention. After cleaning up, she deals with the woman looking for Lily. She also gets a visit from the man who spotted her in the street. He's from Handel Jewellers, and wants her to switch out a necklace that Anderson Kingdom's Princess Natasha bought from them as they accidentally sold her a fake. Rella's hesitant, but notices she resembles Natasha upon seeing a photo. Plus she's not the type to turn down a fancy party. Aramis is also attending the party, so Rella makes use of his infatuation to get on board. She gets into costume as the Bloody Sharks head to the ship. She gets ready to make the switch only for Charlie to chloroform her. She wakes up a captive of the Bloody Sharks, who kidnapped her as Natasha's apparently involved in some shady deal, and they suspect she knows where Rex is located. Turns out the deal's being held by Son Taijin, who's working to pass along Anderson Kingdom's art in the black market via their minister, Roma. The Bloody Sharks intercept the deal, demanding Rex back for Natasha. Unfortunately, Son Taijin and Roma plan to have Natasha assassinated after the deal went through anyway. Rella unmasking doesn't do much either. Rella escapes to the pier as an alligator swims around, eating the necklace as it fell away when Charlie kidnapped her. The alligator scares off the pursuers and Rella dives in the water as midnight strikes. Ranma emerges and recognises the alligator as Lily. The Bloody Sharks catch up and Ranma once again explains he's just searching for a lady's pet. Billy tells him to find Rex for them if he's really got nothing to do with Son Taijin. After a brief encounter with Pinocchio, Ranma quickly returns Rex, who was tied up in a warehouse. Convinced, Billy tells him of the assassination plot, and offers his gang's help in preventing it as thanks. They sneak aboard the Shining Venus and Ranma notices Natasha and Rella's resemblance himself. They set Lily out as the party continues, foiling Son Taijin's sniper. Angered, he tells them to target Ranma, only to be stopped by Alice. Ranma discovers the art for the deal as Roma emerges and tells them everything. Natasha overhears and he takes aim. Luckily, Lily is there to stop him. Noticing the necklace, Ranma returns it to Natasha. He heads back, shrugging off Dorothy when she tells him Rella was disguising herself as Natasha for a case. Midnight strikes and Dorothy witnesses the transformation as she leaves. So far it's been enjoyable seeing how seemingly unrelated cases manage to come together for the episode's plot. Also nice to see that even if he's hopeless with computers, Ranma can track a person down with his own resources in record time. The end of the episode certainly has implications too, as somebody was bound to witness the midnight transformation at some point. A shocked Dorothy wakes Rella up and tells her about the midnight transformation. Rella initially thinks she's playing around, but realises she's blacked out and woken up at midnight each time. Next day, she decides not to dwell too hard and heads out for a big meal as Alice watches her. As Rella enjoys her food, she overhears that Son Taijin has just bought the restaurant. Listening in, she learns that he's planning a deal in Italy. Son Taijin's last course consists of mapo tofu, with no one aware of a shadowy figure pouring something on it. Overworked between the two patrons, the waiter mistakenly gives it to Rella. The chef then passes the waiter a note addressed to the one who ordered the tofu. Rella noted that it tasted odd, and the note reveals that the reason is it had a poison in it that acts in 24 hours unless they get an antidote. Rella misses Son Taijin's plane, and learns that nobody spotted anyone suspicious at the restaurant either. She contacts Tinkerbell for info on Sontaijin's Italy visit and conducts her own research on Big Pharma in Kirin. Her search gives the top result as Roberto de Panini of Gulliver Pharmaceuticals. As she leaves, she runs into Aramis again. Turns out the big shot father he's been bragging about over the past few episodes is Roberto himself. Aramis takes Rella to meet his father and it becomes obvious where his personality comes from. Rella talks business, but they don't produce any kind of poison, though their rivals Gold Pharmaceutical might. Excusing herself for a moment, she finds Tinkerbell's dug up info on Sontaijin meeting with Don Margherita in Italy. Rella asks about them both, but Roberto claims he's on good terms with both of them. Rella heads to Gold Pharmaceutical's research lab, intending to sneak in for the antidote. Security spots her and midnight is closing in, so she leaves a message for Ranma. Ranma catches up on the situation and sneaks past as a researcher. He threatens one of the scientists with an acid bottle into revealing anything about a poison, but learns that they only make standard rat poison. Security finds him, so he escapes, Alice still keeping watch on things. Pinocchio's not an option for how little time they have left, so Ranma decides to pay a visit to Club Papillon as his best lead on Sontaijin. Wendy tells him that Sontaijin has a son with one of his mistresses. Ranma infiltrates, but the son in question, Marco, overhears him sneaking around. Sontaijin also returns, complaining that his plane had engine trouble. Marco's pleased to see him at least, revealing that the poison was just sugar as his birthday was today and he wanted some family time, though Sontaijin was none the wiser to any poison to begin with. Marco also alerts his father to Ranma's presence. Alice reports back to someone on Ranma, mentioning a Dr. Grimm, as Ranma leaves Rella a message complaining at how she could mess up like that. Entertaining comedy of errors in this episode. Ranma and Rella are aware of what's going on between them now at least. We also get a bit more on who Aramis is, as well as the high-profile father he keeps mentioning. Alice continues to be an enigma, in that she knows something about the duo but clearly not about the midnight body swapping, as well as dropping a potential name of the doctor that performed the experiment on them in the first place. Alice is in contact with someone over a recent mass killing. The culprits are a trio of assassins known as the Mad Pig Brothers, Saute, Fly and Boil. Meanwhile, Ranma is in contact with Pinocchio to learn about the Midnight Transformation, but all he learns is the info is heavily classified. As he sits in a cafe, Alice pays him a visit. She claims the Mad Pig Brothers stole a microdisc that contains her sister's environmental research. Ranma's suspicious as she's led him the wrong way before, but ultimately accepts. Ranma pays Pinocchio another visit, this time more successful. Alice, meanwhile, heads to the Mad Pigs, telling Boyle to expect him, her true motive being to learn about Ranma's abilities. She watches as Ranma infiltrates the Mad Pig's hideout. He finds the microdisc quickly enough, but the brothers are waiting. Despite being pinned by Boyle, Ranma keeps his cool and slips away. Ranma heads to his car and flees. Unfortunately, Fly and Saute manage to catch up pretty quickly. He's forced to ditch the car and escape to a subway. Fly manages to board the train pretty quickly, so Ranma heads to the roof. Saute makes his attack on Ranma next. With Fly closing in, Ranma threatens to toss the microdisc, but this fails to convince him. Fortunately, he's prepared with a belt that fires knockout gas thanks to Dorothy. Boyle is waiting at the tunnel exit, having hijacked the subway controls to cut the power. As the others surround Ranma, he escapes with a grapple watch. Hiding in a classroom and midnight closing in, Ranma leaves a message to bring Rella up to speed. As midnight strikes, Alice witnesses the transformation, confirming her theory that Dr. Grimm was behind it. Fly and Saute attack Rella as she tries to process everything. Alice manages to intercept Boyle, who thanks her for hiding a tracker in the microdisc. No longer needing them, she shoots him and heads up to help Rella. Rella deals with Fly in her own way, but Sorte is still waiting. Alice arrives and shoots both Sorte and Fly. Telling Rella to get to safety, she reveals she also knows about the transformation now. Boyle is still alive, so Rella moves for Sorte's weapon controller. Between that and Alice's gunfire, he's finally brought down. Alice reports back to her contact on the night's events, but makes no mention of the midnight transformation for now. Decent action in this episode. As usual, Alice continues to prove a mystery, though given she chose not to reveal Ranma and Rella's transformation, she's potentially not all bad. Just a matter of where her alignment will end up, I suppose. Next time, we delve into the history of Ranma and Rella as we reach episode 9. Until then,